Ancient Israel had the best hygiene in the world. 1. The Israelites invented hand washing. In the West, washing hands is a new practice. Until the 19th century, no one did it regularly. Hands were usually wiped if they were dirty. Of course, no one knew about bacteria and germs. But in Israel, hand washing dates back to Moses' times. There were strict rules when to wash hands: before and after a meal with bread, before worshiping, before the priestly blessing, after sleeping, after using the bathhouse, after leaving a cemetery, after cutting nails or hair. This ritual cleaning persisted for centuries. European Jews had lower death rates in the Middle Ages. This led some people to blame the Jews for plague outbreaks. 2. There were even primitive disinfectants. In those days, washing mostly meant using clean water. Yet there are some biblical references to sanitizers. In Luke 10, Jesus tells the parable of the Good Samaritan. The Samaritan pours olive oil and wine on the injured Jew. These were probably used as disinfectants. Soap and lye were also used for cleaning. 3. Bathing was a regular activity. The mikveh is a type of purifying bath in Judaism. It always includes water from a natural source. Its purpose was strictly religious, of course, but it also meant that Jews regularly bathed. This was not normal for most cultures at the time. What made mikvahs special is that they were only used for cleansing. Unlike rivers or lakes, they weren't used for washing clothes. Ancient mikvahs are found all around Israel. 4. Unclean things, and people were isolated. There was very little understanding of disease in those times, but people knew about contagion. To the Jews, the worst disease was leprosy. While it can look scary, it's actually non-infectious. They didn't know about it, so lepers were always isolated. This resembles modern rules of quarantine. Jesus made it a point to heal lepers. This restored them back to the community. Unclean things, however, could not be restored. This included any pottery or cooking utensils. It was also true of fabric and buildings. What made them unclean was leprosy. However, in this case the word meant mold or fungi. Discarding moldy pots and clothes was a smart decision. 5. The world's oldest toilets were made in Israel. Archaeologists found a 2,700-year-old toilet at Lachish. It dates back to the time of the biblical king Hezekiah. Lachish was the second biggest city in Judah at the time. The toilet was made out of limestone. Similar commodes were found at the city of David. They were embedded into the floor. Below was a plaster-lined cesspit, about 8 feet deep. This restroom was built in the 7th century BC. 6. There were special delousing implements. Lice were a constant scourge in ancient times. Recently, a 4,500-year-old Canaanite comb was discovered. It bears this inscription: "May this tusk root out the lice of the hair and the beard." It's the oldest full sentence ever found in Canaanite. It's a foundational language of modern Hebrew. This means that the Israelites had specialized combs to remove lice.